Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an incredible day. To start things off, Amazon-owned leading game streaming platform known as Twitch has enabled Bitcoin and Bcash payments yet again. Cointelegraph Brazil reported on the 25th of June. As Cointelegraph reported at the time, in March, Twitch quietly removed Bitcoin and Bcash's payment options for subscriptions by removing BitPay as a payment method. Per the report, BitPay has been enabled again as a payment processor on the platform. Bitcoin and Bcash can be found as payment options in the section dedicated to the less common payment methods of the subscription payment page. The renewed enabling of those coins as payment options has not been announced on the company's blog or in a press release. They kind of just did it seemingly very quiet. Not surprised at this at all. A lot of people, not to say that they were naysayers and or doubters, but a lot of the companies who, especially in 2018, a lot of them were removing Bitcoin as a payment method or a payment option. There was also a situation, for those of you who weren't here, there was actually a Bitcoin conference where they actually didn't even accept Bitcoin as a payment option. It was very, very weird. All of this is slowly starting up once again. I assume that they realize that there's a lot of money to be made in this, and they're probably coerced to do so as prices have been moving back up, because everybody always wants their little slice of the pie. Here's the actual information right here from Cointelegraph Brazil. Cannot read Portuguese, but I can make out some of the words. It looks relatively similar to Spanish. And without further ado, let's move on. Next up, SendFriend, a next-generation remittance company, is now live with XRapid, Ripple's XRP-powered solution for moving money across borders. The digital asset is designed to make transactions fast, cheap, simple, and secure. SendFriend announced on Sunday that it had launched its service in New Jersey to allow overseas Filipino workers to send money back home, tapping into the $11 billion that is sent each year to the Philippines from the United States. XRP, the world's third largest cryptocurrency, is used as a liquidity vehicle for cross-border payments. You guys know all that, so and so and so. Here's a tweet actually for it, talking about it. And they say, we're confirmed, we're live with XRapid right now. SendFriend says its platform eliminates high banking fees, providing its service at a massive discount compared to the legacy platform, 65% lower than the industry average. Where was the other important part? Yep, the company plans to roll out its service in Texas as well, but hasn't released a date. They said Texas is in the roadmap. We can't comment on the exact timeline yet, but we're working as hard as we can to open it up as soon as possible. I assume, for those who don't know, we've had, when things are trying to get running within the United States, each individual state acts as its own country. That's kind of really how it looks. So every single time that something ends up launching, it doesn't usually launch across the entirety of the United States at the exact same time. So I assume we will have a bit more of a rollout across different states as the year goes on. I assume by the end of this year, they should have a confirmed 50 states all being able to use SendFriend, which is going to be using XRP. Next up, Huobi Exchange will expand its operations to Turkey, planning to have a crypto to fiat on-ramp for Turkish users by the end of 2019. According to a press release on the 26th of June, the Singapore-based crypto exchange will be moving aggressively to the Turkish market over the next 12 months, since the country has a very important and promising prospective market. I'll get into that in 1 second. Huobi Global CEO Livio Wang said in a Huobi-sponsored meeting in Istanbul. According to a press release, Huobi's new expansion plans include not only a fiat on-ramp for Turkish lira, but also localized products, customer services, as well as launching a branch office in the country. Huobi's entrance in the Turkish market will be overseen by official branch of Huobi Group, Huobi Middle East, Africa, and South Asia, Huobi MENA, which is based in Dubai. Huobi MENA co-founder Mohit Davar said the platform has already added a Turkish language option to the Huobi website, as I assume they probably should have. The most important part is right here. Huobi's new expansion move has been driven by the popularity of crypto in Turkey. Citing data from a Statistics Global consumer survey from 2019, Huobi stated that 20% of Turkish residents now hold some form of crypto, which is the highest per capita of all nations surveyed. We had that chart a couple of weeks ago as well. It showed, I think it was like the 40 largest countries or most well-known countries around the world. And they were, I think Turkey was kind of the highest as far as actual ownership. Apparently, I'm not in Turkey myself, but apparently according to the charts that they were showing, 1 out of every 5 people within Turkey actually now owns cryptocurrency. Here's the actual press release about the expansion into Turkey. And here's the actual chart of the US dollar with the, was it the Turkish lira, I think? I can't find the word. Yes, Turkish lira, there we go. Here's the actual chart for it. For those who are not looking at the screen, it looks abysmal. Sometime last year, there was a bit of a spike, but even before that, it was very, very low. There's constantly about a month or two where there's someone doing something to try and push the value up according in accordance or next to the US dollar. It ends up slamming down. There's a constant effort to kind of push the price up, but it's constantly in this really dampening, deepening valley that we see right here. And even earlier this year, there was a bit of hope that things had kind of gone back up, but the prices were going back down. We were talking already going back down. We were talking about that a couple of weeks ago as well. When this was actually happening, that there were a whole bunch of people from other countries who were actually going to Turkey to buy luxury items. It was the weirdest first world thing that I had ever seen in my entire life. But the point is, when we talk about currencies that aren't doing very well, the Turkish lira is one of them. Don't think that they are the only ones. This is spreading across the entire world. There's a lot of inflation, a lot of money printing, a lot of distrust with governments and what they're doing and how much money they're printing and their monetary and economic, fiscal, every single thing policies. So this seems to be a response to, I mean, nobody wants, can you imagine having a currency that goes from here, like down here, over the course of a couple of months? Nobody wants their money devalued. And this is why a lot of people, especially because the price of Bitcoin has been going up, I mean, logically speaking, everyone is getting very excited for that. And this is why we see a big movement around the world where people are pushing their money into cryptocurrencies, because it seems to be a better way to be able to not only maintain the money that you have, but also to make money on the side. Like Bitcoin has gone up by, was it 400% this year alone, while other currencies around the world are slamming directly into the ground. There's a chart once again. And yeah, let's move on. Next up, Brazilian cryptocurrency exchanges are rolling out support for a stablecoin, according to a report by Cointelegraph Brazil on the 26th of June. Brazilian platforms including NBKrypto, Nox Trading, 3xBit, and Bitcambio are reportedly slated to be the next adopters to issue the new stablecoin, pegged 1-to-1 with the Brazilian real. Is going to be known as RealT. I assume that may be RealT, is what you probably should be pronouncing it as. As explained in his white paper, the RealT token is an ERC-based 20 stablecoin that is strictly pegged to the Brazilian real. The paper claims that the company behind the token, RealT Tecnologia SA, will publicly share its bank statements to provide evidence for full banking of the RealT in fiat money. The paper also notes that most stablecoins are currently pegged to the US dollar, including the other ones, you guys should know them already. Whereas the RealT would purportedly be the first stablecoin for the real. RealT, my goodness, was originally launched on the exchange Stratum on the 9th of May, followed by the CBX on the 10th of May. According to this announcement, RealT is available for deposit and withdrawal, as well as for trade with the USDT as well. So, not surprised by this. I think, or rather, stablecoins are going to exist. I think them pegging themselves to fiat currencies is a huge mistake, as we see fiat currencies being decimated across the board around the entire planet. US dollar and the euro are not immune to this. They're also not doing very well. They're also constantly printing new paper money all the time. So I guess maybe the main takeaway is, my thought has been for quite some time that governments and banks were looking for a way to get into the cryptocurrency space, and I still think that this is the way that they're being able to do it, because it takes a lot of paperwork, it takes a lot of anything to be able to make something that is either pegged to a currency or that can be swapped 1-to-1 with that currency. This, in essence, is a digital real, which I think government leaders would probably not allow unless they had gotten some type of proper paperwork clarification thumbs up to be able to do so. I still think if governments and banks don't really get it together, we're probably going to hear a lot of news, in my opinion, about governments and banks using these coins, or rather supporting these coins so that they can pump out more of these coins as the new digital way to be able to use money. I don't think it is random at all that this is all happening at the exact same time, that we're just happening to see all these governments around the world like giving support to cryptocurrencies, but usually in like a stable coin way. We had a couple of other banks a couple of months ago who were also talking about, I think that they were, what's it called? Not supporters, but they had given funding to these projects, I assume because they're probably also trying to test them behind the scenes. But the dumbest part of all of this, at least for me, is that they still don't get it. They don't get that people don't want, or rather, say it this way, that the world is going to probably move to a way to be able to transact value very quickly and easily without having to go through multiple different hoops and hurdles and all this other stuff. It's kind of it's the exact same system that we have right now, except that they're digitizing it. Nobody wants to be able to try and send money across. If I'm in Canada and I'm sending money to Japan, I don't want it to have to go through the Canadian dollar and then go to the US and then go to somewhere else and then finally end up hitting Japan after it's gone through multiple sources, when we just simply can do that with Litecoin or Ether or XRP or Bitcoin or any other coin. It's just like, you know, we get rid of that middleman. But every single system appears to be still fighting against the cryptocurrency curve, and they're trying to make sure that they still do have a middleman so that they can essentially still charge their fees, because it's kind of what it all comes down to. Everyone wants to make sure that they get their piece of the pie in this new digital future, but the issuing of stablecoins against already not doing well fiat currencies is a little ridiculous. Next up, T0 has launched a new app that combines a digital wallet with exchange services. The company, funded by Medici Ventures, launched a security token trading platform last January. The app, called the T0 Crypto app, that's self-explanatory, will also allow users to trade Bitcoin and Ether, and includes a private key recovery system that will keep coins safe if you lose a phone or device. The T0 Crypto app is a significant milestone. Milestone, for those who aren't looking at the screen, it's spelled wrong. Milestone are plans to provide an intuitive experience for trading all digital assets. The app is available for iOS and is coming to Android soon, according to the firm. CoinDesk reported back in March that the firm was looking to release a crypto buying app at the time. Noor Shalel said that the app was being developed by the team from Bitsy, and whatever. I don't like reading the rest. The point is, T0 finally has a new wallet out. Apparently, you're going to be able to trade Bitcoin and Ether on this as well. I have not used T0 myself, but I remember people saying a couple of months ago that they were using T0. So if you have had a good experience with T0, please, by all means, let other people know. Some people don't really like to use even some of the platforms that I've mentioned or listed, or whatever the things that I may find or myself more comfortable with using. Some people like to have their own experience and use their own thing. Kind of just how the world works. If you have used T0 before, let other people know if it was good. If it was terrible, let them know as well. Let them know exactly why it was terrible so they get a better understanding as to if they should or should not be putting their money through this platform. To kind of finish things up, my favorite story of the day, the deputy governor of the Bank of Uganda has warned the public about the limited protections offered them when they invest in unregulated cryptocurrencies. English language Ugandan Daily New Vision reported on the 28th of June that the bank's deputy governor, Dr. Louis Kaskende, made his remarks during a town hall meeting in the city of Masaka, which was devoted to educating the public about the institution's activities and role. Despite Bitcoin being designed, in particular, as a politically neutral money, Kaskende reportedly underscored the risks of crypto trading and adoption, stating that, and I do quote, he said, online cryptocurrency businesses are not regulated at all at the moment, and therefore carry a significant risk of loss of savings. With no recourse to protection or insured by government, this is likely the case with regulated financial institutions, such as commercial banks, which we all love and trust. In his remarks, the governor clarified that the central bank does not have a comprehensive oversight of all financial services, firms, and institutions, and that its supervision typically spans commercial banks, credit institutions, foreign exchange bureaus, and money remittance service providers. The takeaway here is that within Africa, and even more so also within South America, and I can't even discount parts of, rather, the whole world. This isn't even just an African thing. Governments around the world have been trying to figure out a way to continue to scare people out of using cryptocurrencies. And the main thing that they usually tend to say is that, well, we don't control it. Who is controlling it? It's not us. You should be afraid. Don't trust it. There's been a lot of stuff like this in the news. I usually skim over it or just skip over it completely. We had a lot more of this in the end of 2017 and like the beginning of 2018. There was a lot of warnings from governments and stuff like that. But I think one of the major takeaways is, for me at least, it always appears that they say these things when they are coming to the conclusion that they're going to have to integrate these things into their systems at some point. I think the way that governments plan on integrating cryptocurrencies or crypto something into their systems is through the use of stablecoins or trying to create their own cryptocurrencies themselves. And this is where I think they try to find not even a happy medium. They try to make sure that they scare the public away from Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies so that that people within their country can simply only go, okay, well, those are scary. But this bank, I've been using this bank for about 15 years. They're now digital. They're also cool. They're also and so and so. So I'll just continue using them. It's a very weird scare tactic, but it does work. We heard about that when we were talking about that other podcast a couple of months ago with that other guy who was in Africa. I think he was in Zimbabwe. I think. And he was talking about how his government had also come forward at one point, told people that the government said we don't trust it and that it's not, we don't consider it legal. And people within the country were terrified to even say the word, or even, he said, the guy who was in the podcast, he was saying that he was asking people inside of cafes, do you take it? And people looked at him like, as if he was like, do you take slaughtered lambs? Like they looked completely terrified as he was asking all of these things. So I'm hopeful that as we continue to have cryptocurrency companies and communities and projects slowly moving into Africa and South America and parts of Southeast Asia, that it does spread a bit more of the adoption. I think these areas may take a bit longer just simply because of life. However, they won't have a choice in a couple of years, so they'd rather, I would rather them get to it now as opposed to scaring their people. But this is, governments love scaring other people so they can kind of maintain the status quo. Just how things are. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters: Mechanic, Anthony Charles, Nick Mangelavori, Arthur Yaku, Minting Coins, Jim Gardner, Jeremy the Photographer, Tom Sucks at Basketball, and Sam Skips Leg Day, Paxis, Vlad the Impaler, Cody, RF Dusty, Richie Rich III, Nick Kanaya, Setsuna, Nicholas, One Earth, One Peace, One Love, Crypto Artist, Cold D3D, Clara T. Snowden, Jeffrey Ramsey, Amy Starsheen, Yasha Harari, Rai, singer-songwriter Mike Savitz, Carl Birchinov, Morhan Maroney, Crypto Joe, Wise Night Owl, Jared Schneider, L. Doug, Brady Niels, Crypto Beer Shipmate, Adobo, My Keto Kitchen, Professor Wally from Gunbot University, Auspicious Agile and Blockchain, and Kyle Chasse. Thank you all very much for your support at the moment, especially from earlier. The Bitcoin price has actually moved up. We are very close to $12,000 once again. I think since early we moved up around $300 to $400. Some of the other alts are currently in the green. Not a lot of them. They're still trying desperately to move back up. It appears that Bitcoin could be, no one knows that Bitcoin could be in the green at least by the end of this afternoon, maybe the beginning of the evening. It looks like we're trying to push past $12,000 once again. I think we should relatively easily be able to do it. It's the big 15,000 that we're kind of looking at right now. If we can actually end up making it there within the next, I don't want to say next week, I want to say next 2 weeks. I hope that, or rather, I assume by the time we hit July, that's when things will really start to take off because all the other things are going to finally start launching. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening. I hope you all enjoyed. And yeah, I'll talk to you all soon. See you.